The phone buzzed on the kitchen counter while Zara was making breakfast. She glanced at it, expecting her usual morning notifications. Instead, the screen displayed a message that made her blood run cold. Reminder, Jackson's soccer game today at 3 p.m. Don't forget to bring his cleats. Love you. See. Zara stared at the message. Jackson. They didn't have a son named Jackson. They didn't have any children at all. After 8 years of marriage, she and Trevor had been trying, but nothing had happened yet. The doctors said there was no medical reason. Just timing, they said. Keep trying, they said. Her hands started shaking. She picked up the phone. It was Trevor's. He must have grabbed hers by mistake this morning when he rushed out for his early meeting. They had the same phone model, same black case. An easy mistake. But this message was no mistake. Zara sat down heavily in the kitchen chair. Her heart pounded so hard she could hear it in her ears. She looked at the message again. The sender was saved as C with a heart emoji. Who was C? And who was Jackson? Her fingers moved before her brain could stop them. She opened Trevor's text messages. There were dozens from C, hundreds actually. She scrolled up, her stomach twisting with each message she read. Can't wait to see you tonight. The kids miss their daddy. Thank you for fixing the sink. You're the best husband. Husband. Zara felt like she might throw up. She kept scrolling. There were photos. A woman with long brown hair and a wide smile. 2 children. A boy who looked about 6. A girl who couldn't be more than 4. They were sitting on a couch Zara had never seen, in a living room she didn't recognize. But Trevor was there. In every photo. Trevor holding the little girl. Trevor teaching the boy to ride a bike. Trevor cutting a birthday cake with the woman's hand resting on his shoulder. How long had this been going on? Zara's hands trembled as she went to Trevor's photo gallery. She found a folder labeled Family. Her breath caught. Inside were hundreds of photos. Years worth of photos. Birthday parties. Christmas mornings. Beach vacations. School plays. All with them. The other family. She checked the dates on the oldest photos. 6 years ago. This had been going on for 6 years. Zara felt dizzy. She had known Trevor for 10 years, been married for 8. Which meant he had started this other life just 2 years into their marriage. Right around the time they had started talking about having kids of their own. Oh God. He had kids. He had a whole other family. And she had been completely clueless. She thought about all the business trips. All the late nights at work. All the weekends he said he needed to visit his sick uncle upstate. Every lie, every excuse, every time he said he loved her while kissing her goodbye before going to spend time with them. Her phone buzzed. Her actual phone sitting next to Trevor's. It was a text from her best friend Nicole. Lunch today? I need to tell you about my terrible date last night. Zara couldn't respond. She couldn't think. She could barely breathe. She went back to Trevor's phone and opened his banking app. He had never hidden his password from her. Why would he? She was his wife. His trusting, stupid wife. The transaction history made her sick. Regular transfers to an account she didn't recognize. Payments to an address across town. Grocery store purchases in a neighborhood they never went to. Children's clothing stores. Toy stores. A pediatrician's office. He was paying for everything. Supporting 2 families. And she had never noticed the money missing because she had her own job, her own income. She had never thought to question where his money went because she trusted him completely. Zara stood up and walked to the bathroom. She stared at herself in the mirror. She looked the same as she had an hour ago. Same dark brown skin. Same natural curls pulled into a messy bun. Same brown eyes. But everything was different now. How could she have been so blind? She thought about last night. Trevor had come home around 8, kissed her cheek and said he had a long day at work. They had eaten dinner together. Watched a movie. Gone to bed. He had held her and told her he loved her. Where had he really been? With him? Did he tell that woman he loved her too? Zara gripped the edge of the sink. She wanted to scream. She wanted to throw something. She wanted to call Trevor right now and hear him try to explain this away. But she didn't do any of those things. Instead, she took a deep breath. Then another. And another. She walked back to the kitchen table and picked up both phones. She took photos of everything on Trevor's phone with her own. Every message. Every photo. Every transaction. She sent them all to her email. Then she went through his other apps. His calendar showed 2 sets of appointments. His Notes app had reminders for both families. His voice memos had recordings of the children calling him daddy. Evidence. She needed evidence. By the time Trevor's phone started ringing with his actual ringtone, Zara had documented everything. She let it ring. It was probably him, realizing he had the wrong phone. She answered. Hello. Hey babe, Trevor said, sounding casual and relaxed. I think we switched phones this morning. I'm heading home to grab mine real quick. Okay, Zara said, her voice surprisingly steady. I'll be here. She hung up and placed his phone back on the counter exactly where she had found it. Then she went upstairs to their bedroom and sat on the edge of the bed she shared with a man she suddenly realized she had never really known at all. Trevor would be home in 15 minutes. Zara had 15 minutes to decide what kind of woman she was going to be. The kind who fell apart? Or the kind who got even? Zara chose even. When Trevor walked through the door 20 minutes later, she was sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee, scrolling through her own phone like nothing had happened. Hey, he said, grabbing his phone from the counter. He checked it quickly, his shoulders relaxing when he saw no messages from her asking questions. Thanks. I would have been lost without this today. No problem, Zara said, not looking up. He kissed the top of her head. I have back-to-back meetings all day. Probably won't be home until late. Don't wait up. Okay. Have a good day. He left. The door clicked shut behind him. Zara immediately opened her laptop. She had work to do. First, she called in sick to her job at the marketing firm. Then she started researching divorce lawyers. Not just any lawyers. The best ones. The ones who specialized in complex cases involving hidden assets and fraud. She made a list of 5 names. Then she called each office and scheduled consultations for the next week, using her maiden name so nothing would alert Trevor if he somehow checked. Next, she did something she never thought she would do. She Googled private investigators in her area. The first 3 she called sounded sleazy. The 4th sounded bored. The 5th, a woman named Patricia Hughes, sounded professional and sympathetic when Zara explained in vague terms what she needed. I can see you tomorrow morning, Patricia said. 9 a.m. Bring any documentation you have. The more evidence you already have, the faster and cheaper this will be for you. Thank you, Zara said. After hanging up, she spent the next 3 hours going through every file, every document, every piece of paper in their home office. She found their joint bank statements and saw the pattern she had missed before. Regular withdrawals. Transfers to accounts labeled as investments, that she now realized were nothing of the sort. She photographed everything. Around 2 in the afternoon, Zara did something else she had never done before. She drove across town to the address she had found in Trevor's transaction history. It was a modest house in a neighborhood she had never been to before. Nice enough. A swing set in the backyard. Toys scattered on the front porch. A minivan in the driveway. Zara parked down the street and watched. At 3:15, a woman came out of the house with 2 children. The boy and girl from the photos. The woman was pretty in a casual way. Jeans and a t-shirt. Hair in a ponytail. She looked tired but happy as she buckled the kids into the minivan. They drove away and Zara followed from a distance. They went to a soccer field. The boy ran out to join a team of other kids his age. The woman sat in the stands with the little girl on her lap. Zara watched from her car. She felt like she was watching a movie about someone else's life. But it was real. This was Trevor's other family. His other life. She didn't know how long she sat there. Long enough to see the game end. Long enough to see the boy run to his mother, excited and sweaty. Long enough to see them drive away again. Zara went home. She made dinner. She cleaned the kitchen. She showered. She put on pajamas. She got into bed. Trevor came home around 11 just like he said he would. Hey, he whispered, sliding into bed beside her. You still awake? Yeah, she said. How was your day? Fine. Quiet. How were your meetings? Long, exhausting. I'm glad to be home. Home. This home. Not his other home with his other family. Zara turned to look at him in the darkness. Trevor? Yeah. Do you ever think about having kids? He was quiet for a moment. Of course. We've talked about this. When the time is right. When do you think the time will be right? I don't know, babe. Maybe in a year or 2. I just want to make sure we're financially stable first. Financially stable. While he was supporting another family. Okay, Zara said. Good night. Good night. Love you. Love you too. The lies came so easily to both of them now. The next morning, Zara met with Patricia Hughes. The investigator was a woman in her 50s with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense attitude. Zara laid out everything she had found. The photos. The messages. The financial records. The address. Patricia looked through it all, making notes. This is good. You've done half my job already. But we need more. We need to document his movements. We need to prove the extent of his deception. We need evidence that will hold up if he tries to hide assets during the divorce. How long will that take? A month? Maybe 2. It depends on how careful we need to be. I can wait, Zara said. I've been waiting for 8 years without knowing it. I can wait a little longer. Patricia smiled grimly. You're handling this better than most people would. I haven't had time to fall apart yet, Zara admitted. Right now I'm just angry. Really, really angry. Good. Use that. Anger is better than sadness right now. Sadness makes you weak. Anger makes you smart. Zara hired her on the spot. Over the next 4 weeks, Patricia worked. She followed Trevor. She documented his schedule. She took photos of him entering and leaving the other house. She tracked his movements and proved without a doubt that he was living a double life. During those 4 weeks, Zara played the perfect wife. She smiled when Trevor came home. She kissed him goodbye in the mornings. She made dinners and watched movies and pretended everything was normal. But inside she was planning. She opened a new bank account at a different bank, one where Trevor had no access. She started transferring small amounts of her own money into it. Nothing he would notice. Just enough to build a safety net. She changed all her passwords. Her email. Her social media. Her online banking. Everything. She made copies of every important document and stored them in a safety deposit box he didn't know about. She called her mother's lawyer and asked about the money her mother had left her when she died 3 years ago. It was in a trust account. Trevor couldn't touch it. That money would be her lifeline. She documented everything Trevor did. Every lie. Every excuse. Every time he said he was one place but was actually somewhere else. By the end of the month, Patricia had a file 3 inches thick. This is more than enough, Patricia said when they met again. He doesn't have a leg to stand on. Between the proof of his other family and the financial fraud, any judge will side with you. Good, Zara said. What's next? Next you talk to your lawyer. You file for divorce. You hit him with everything at once before he has time to react. And the other woman? Candace. Patricia raised an eyebrow. What about her? Does she know? Does she know he's married to someone else? According to the investigation, no. She thinks he's her husband. He told her his name is Trevor Matthews. Uses his middle name as his last name. She has no idea you exist. Zara felt a complicated twist of emotions. Part of her hated this woman. Part of her felt sorry for her. But mostly she felt nothing. Candace was just another victim of Trevor's lies. Should I tell her? Patricia shrugged. That's up to you. Legally you don't have to. Morally that's your call. But if you do tell her, do it anonymously. Don't give her a reason to come after you or complicate your divorce. Zara thought about it for a long time. Finally she made her decision. Zara spent the next 2 weeks building her fortress in complete silence. Every morning she woke up next to Trevor. Every morning she pretended to be the woman she used to be. The woman who trusted him. The woman who loved him. The woman who believed in their future together. But that woman was dead. She had died the moment Zara saw that text message. The woman who existed now was someone else entirely. Someone harder. Someone smarter. Someone who would never be fooled again. During the day while Trevor was at work or at his other home, Zara met with lawyers. She chose a firm that specialized in high-conflict divorces. Her lawyer, a sharp woman named Janet Morrison, listened to everything and nodded. This is one of the clearer cases I've seen, Janet said. Between the fraud, the bigamy, and the financial deception, we can take him for everything he's worth. But we have to be strategic. We file everything at once. Divorce papers, restraining order if needed, asset freezes, everything. We don't give him time to hide money or prepare a defense. When? Zara asked. 2 weeks. That gives us time to make sure every document is perfect. Zara agreed. She went home and continued her performance. She cooked Trevor's favorite meals. She laughed at his jokes. She asked about his day and pretended to believe his answers. At night, alone in the bathroom while he slept, she cried silently into a towel. Not because she missed him. Not because she still loved him. But because she mourned the life she thought she had. The future she thought they would build together. All of it had been a lie. During this time, Zara also did something else. She reconnected with the parts of herself she had let fade during her marriage. Before Trevor, she had been a graphic designer. A good one. She had freelanced for years, building a small but successful business. But after they got married, Trevor had encouraged her to take a stable corporate job instead. Benefits, he had said. Security. She had listened. She had given up the work she loved for a steady paycheck. Now she started taking projects again. Small ones at first. A logo for a friend's new business. A website design for a former client who reached out. She worked on them late at night, after Trevor fell asleep. She worked on them during her lunch breaks at her corporate job. The creativity felt good. It felt like finding a piece of herself she had forgotten existed. She also started going to the gym again. Not for him. For herself. She needed to be strong for what was coming. Physically and mentally. She called old friends she had lost touch with. Friends Trevor had always found reasons for her not to see. Too busy. Too tired. Maybe next time. She had let those friendships fade. Now she was rebuilding them. Nicole, her best friend from college, met her for coffee. "Where have you been?" Nicole asked, pulling Zara into a hug. "I've missed you." "I've been around," Zara said. "Just busy." "Too busy for your best friend? That doesn't sound like you." "I know. I'm sorry. Things have been complicated." Nicole studied her face. "Are you okay? Is everything all right with Trevor?" Zara wanted to tell her everything. She wanted to cry and rage and let it all out. But she couldn't. Not yet. Not until everything was finalized. "I'm fine," she lied. "Everything's fine. I just realized I've been neglecting the important people in my life. I want to do better." Nicole squeezed her hand. "I'm always here for you. You know that, right?" "I know." At home, Zara continued her investigation. She found more evidence. More lies. She discovered that Trevor had taken out a credit card in his fake name. She found proof that he had been lying about his salary. He made more than he told her. Much more. Money he had been funneling to his other family. She documented everything. Every lie. Every deception. Every broken promise. She also did something that surprised her. She stopped caring. One night, Trevor came home late again. Another work emergency. Another lie. He expected her to be upset or suspicious. Instead, she just smiled and said, "That's okay. Dinner's in the fridge. I already ate." He looked confused. "You're not mad." "Why would I be mad? You have to work." "I understand." He relaxed. "Thanks for being so understanding. I don't know what I'd do without you." "Neither do I," she said, and it wasn't a lie. Without her, he would have kept getting away with it. Without her documentation, her evidence, her careful planning, he might have continued this double life for years. But she had found out. And now she was going to make sure he paid for every lie. The day before the papers were filed, Zara did one final thing. She packed a bag of essentials. Clothes, toiletries, important documents, her laptop. She took it to Nicole's house. "Can I leave this here for a few days?" she asked. Nicole looked worried. "Zara, what's going on?" "I promise I'll explain soon. But right now, I just need you to trust me." "Of course. Always." That night, Zara lay in bed next to Trevor one last time. She listened to him breathe. She thought about all the nights she had slept next to him, believing they were building a life together. Believing in the future he promised. "I hope your meetings go well tomorrow," she said softly. He mumbled something in his sleep. She smiled in the darkness. His meetings. His lies. Tomorrow all of it would come crashing down. Tomorrow she would stop pretending. Tomorrow she would become someone new. The next morning, Trevor left for work at 7 a.m. like always. He kissed her cheek like always. He said, "Love you. See you tonight." She said, "See you tonight," but she knew she wouldn't. At 9 a.m. Janet called. "Everything's been filed. The papers have been served to his office. The joint accounts are frozen. It's done." Zara took a deep breath. "Thank you. Are you somewhere safe?" "Yes. I'm staying with a friend." "Good. He's going to try to contact you. Don't answer. Let him go through me. That's what you're paying me for." At noon, Zara's phone started ringing. Trevor. She declined the call. He called again. And again. And again. Text messages flooded in. "What is this? Why are you doing this? We need to talk. This is a misunderstanding. Please call me. I love you." She blocked his number. Then she did something she had been thinking about for weeks. She created an anonymous email account. She gathered all the evidence she had collected. Photos of her and Trevor's marriage certificate. Photos of their home. Photos of him at various events where he had told Candace he was somewhere else. And she sent it all to Candace with a simple message. "You deserve to know the truth. I'm sorry you have to find out this way. Trevor has been married to me for 8 years. He's been lying to both of us. I'm filing for divorce. I thought you should know who you're really living with." She pressed send before she could second-guess herself. Then she turned off her phone and went for a long walk. It was done. The bomb had been dropped. Now she just had to wait for the explosion. Zara spent that first night at Nicole's apartment, curled up on the couch with a cup of tea she couldn't drink. Her stomach was twisted in knots. Not from regret. From anticipation. Somewhere across town, Trevor had been served divorce papers at his office. Somewhere else, Candace had opened an email that would destroy her world. Nicole sat beside her, finally knowing everything. "I can't believe this," Nicole kept saying. "I mean, I believe you. The evidence is right there. But I can't believe he did this. For 6 years? How is that even possible?" "It's possible when you trust someone completely," Zara said. "That's what I keep coming back to. I trusted him so much that I never thought to question anything. This isn't your fault. I know. But it feels like I should have known somehow. Should have seen the signs. He's a professional liar. That's what he is. You can't blame yourself for believing the person you married." Zara's phone, which she had turned back on, started buzzing again. Not Trevor this time. His mother. She declined the call. Then Trevor's brother. Declined. His best friend. Declined. "They're all trying to reach you," Nicole observed. "Let them try. Everything goes through my lawyer now." Around 8 p.m. Janet called. "He's losing his mind," the lawyer said. "He showed up at my office demanding to talk to you. Security had to escort him out. He's claiming this is all a misunderstanding. That you're overreacting." "Of course he is." He also lawyered up fast. Got himself a decent attorney. "This is going to be a fight." "Good. I'm ready. One more thing. The other woman, Candace, she called my office too. Apparently she got an anonymous email with evidence of Trevor's double life. She's falling apart. Wants to know if it came from you." Zara's heart raced. "What did you tell her?" "Nothing. Client confidentiality. But between you and me, good move. She needed to know. And now we potentially have an ally if this goes to court. I don't want her as an ally. I don't want anything to do with her." "Understood. But her testimony could be useful." After hanging up, Zara tried to sleep. She couldn't. Her mind kept racing through everything that was happening. Everything that would happen next. The next morning she went to work. People stared. They whispered. Word had spread fast. Trevor worked in finance. She worked in marketing. Different buildings, same corporate campus. Everyone knew everyone. Her boss called her into his office. "I heard about your situation," he said carefully. "If you need time off." "I don't. Work is good for me right now. It keeps me focused." "All right. But if you change your mind, just let me know." She made it through the day by staying busy. By keeping her mind on projects and deadlines instead of the disaster that was her personal life. That evening she got a call from an unknown number. She almost didn't answer. But something made her pick up. "Hello? Is this Zara?" A woman's voice. Shaking. Angry. "Who is this?" "You know who this is. You sent me that email." "Candace." Zara's first instinct was to hang up. But she didn't. "Did you know?" Candace asked. "Did you know about me and my kids?" "Not until 2 weeks ago." 2 weeks? You've known for 2 weeks and you're just now telling me? I needed time to protect myself legally before everything blew up. Candace laughed bitterly. "Protect yourself. Right. Well, thanks so much for that. My entire life just fell apart. My kids are asking why their father isn't coming home. I can't pay my mortgage without his income. But at least you protected yourself." Zara felt a flash of anger. "I didn't do this to you." "He did. He lied to both of us. I'm not your enemy. You're not my friend either." "You're right. I'm not. And I don't want to be. I sent you that email because you deserve to know the truth. What you do with that information is up to you." There was silence on the other end. Then, how could we both be so stupid? "We weren't stupid. We were in love with the wrong person." "Were you? In love with him?" Zara thought about it. "I thought I was. Now I don't know if I ever really knew him well enough to love him." More silence. "I'm sorry for calling you," Candace finally said. I don't know what to do." "Get a good lawyer. Document everything. Protect yourself and your kids. That's all you can do." "Yeah. Okay." Pause. "Thank you. For the email. Even though I hate you a little bit for it." "I understand." Candace hung up. Zara sat there for a long moment, staring at her phone. She didn't feel good about that conversation. She didn't feel bad either. She just felt empty. Over the next few days, the situation escalated. Trevor tried everything to reach her. He sent flowers to her office. She threw them away. He sent letters to Nicole's apartment. She burned them without reading them. He tried to access their joint accounts and found them frozen. He tried to go to their house and found the locks changed. He was trapped and he knew it. His lawyer reached out to Janet with a settlement offer. He wants to negotiate, Janet told Zara. He's offering you 60% of the marital assets if you agree to a quick, quiet divorce. No. You sure? 60% is generous. He stole from me for 6 years. He committed fraud. He lied about everything. I want it all. Every penny. Every asset. Everything. That might not be realistic. Then we go to court. I'm not negotiating with him. He doesn't deserve that courtesy. Janet sighed. All right. We'll reject the offer. But prepare yourself. This is going to get ugly. It's already ugly. And it was about to get uglier. Trevor, desperate and cornered, started spreading lies. He told their friends that Zara had cheated. That she was mentally unstable. That she was trying to destroy him out of spite. Some people believed him. Most didn't. The evidence was too clear. But the ones who believed him, the ones who took his side, it hurt more than Zara expected. His mother called again. This time Zara answered. How could you do this to my son? She demanded. Did he tell you about his other family? His other kids? Silence. That's what I thought. Ask him about Jackson and Lily. Ask him about Candace. Then call me back if you still think I'm the villain here. She hung up. 10 minutes later, Trevor's mother called back. She was crying. I didn't know, she sobbed. He told me you were lying. But I called Candace. She answered. The kids were in the background calling for their daddy. Oh God, I didn't know. I know you didn't. I'm so sorry. For what he did to you. For not believing you. For everything. It's not your fault. He's my son. I raised him. I must have done something wrong. You didn't? He made his own choices. He's the only one responsible for this. They talked for another hour. Trevor's mother apologized over and over. She offered to testify on Zara's behalf if needed. She said she would never forgive her son for what he had done. When Zara hung up, she felt strangely lighter. Trevor's own mother had turned against him. His lies were collapsing. His world was crumbling. And Zara? She was just getting started. The next 2 months were a battlefield. Trevor fought dirty. He hired a team of lawyers who tried to paint Zara as vindictive and greedy. They claimed she was exaggerating his relationship with Candace. They argued that the money he spent on his other family was minimal and didn't constitute fraud. They were grasping at straws and everyone knew it. In court, Janet presented the evidence methodically and brutally. Photos of Trevor with his other family spanning 6 years. Financial records showing hundreds of thousands of dollars diverted from their joint accounts. Text messages where Trevor used different names and maintained separate lives. The judge was not impressed with Trevor's defense. Mr. Mitchell, the judge said, looking over his glasses at Trevor. You maintained 2 households. You fathered children with another woman while married. You created false financial accounts. You lied under oath about your income. This isn't a case of marital disagreement. This is systematic fraud and deception. Trevor's lawyer tried to argue. The judge cut him off. I'm awarding Mrs. Mitchell 70% of all marital assets. That includes the house, the investments, the retirement accounts, everything accumulated during the marriage. Mr. Mitchell, you're also responsible for all court costs and attorney fees for both parties. Trevor looked like he might be sick. Furthermore, the judge continued, I'm ordering an investigation into your finances to determine if there are any hidden assets. If we find any, they will be seized and awarded to Mrs. Mitchell as well. It was everything Zara had hoped for and more. Trevor tried one more time to talk to her outside the courthouse. He pushed past Janet and grabbed Zara's arm. Please, he said. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't throw away 8 years of marriage. Zara looked at his hand on her arm. Then at his face. The face she had kissed goodnight for years. The face that had lied to her over and over. Let go of me, she said quietly. Zara, please. Let go. He dropped his hand. Janet stepped between them. Mr. Mitchell, if you touch my client again, I'm filing a restraining order. Do you understand? Trevor looked desperate. Broken. I love you, he said to Zara. I know I messed up, but I love you. No, Zara said. You don't love me. You love having someone to lie to. You love having someone who trusted you completely. But that person is gone. I'm someone different now. And you don't get to touch me or talk to me or be any part of my life ever again. She walked away without looking back. Back at work, things were complicated. Some colleagues supported her. Others gossiped. A few treated her like she was contagious, like divorce was something they could catch. But Zara didn't care anymore. She had stopped caring what people thought the moment she found out about Trevor's lies. She threw herself into her work. Not the corporate marketing job she had taken to please Trevor. The design work she loved. The freelance projects that made her feel creative and alive. She started small. A website redesign for a local restaurant. Business cards for a friend starting a photography business. A logo for a nonprofit. Word spread. Her old clients from before her marriage started reaching out. They had seen her work. They remembered how good she was. They wanted to hire her again. Within 3 months, she had more projects than she could handle alone. She made a decision. She quit her corporate job and went back to freelancing full-time. It was risky. It was scary. But it felt right. Nicole was supportive but worried. Are you sure? That job had benefits. Security. Security is an illusion, Zara said. I had a marriage. I had a house. I had a husband I trusted completely. And all of it was a lie. So no, I'm not interested in security anymore. I'm interested in being happy. She rented a small office space downtown. Nothing fancy. Just a room with good light and enough space for her desk and computer. She painted the walls herself. A soft blue that made her feel calm. She put up a sign, Zara Wilson Design. Wilson was her maiden name. She was taking it back officially as part of the divorce. Her first official client as an independent business owner was a startup tech company that needed a complete brand identity. They offered her more money than she made in 3 months at her old corporate job. She worked late nights and early mornings. She poured everything she had into creating something beautiful for them. When she presented the final designs, the CEO nearly cried. This is exactly what we needed, he said. How did you know? I didn't, Zara admitted. I just listened to what you wanted and created something honest. The company loved her work so much they referred her to 3 other startups. Those startups referred her to others. Within 6 months, Zara had a waiting list of clients. She hired an assistant. A recent graduate named Brianna who was eager and talented and reminded Zara of herself years ago. This is amazing, Brianna said on her first day. I can't believe you built all this from scratch. Not from scratch, Zara corrected. From rubble. There's a difference. During this time, Trevor's life was falling apart in spectacular fashion. His employer found out about his double life and the fraud involved. They launched an internal investigation. It turned out Trevor had been using company resources for his personal life. Company credit cards. Company time. Company money. He was fired. Without his job, he couldn't afford to pay child support to Candace or maintain his lifestyle. He moved into a cheap apartment. His car got repossessed. His credit cards maxed out. Friends who had supported him at first started to pull away when they realized the extent of his lies. No one wanted to be associated with him. His mother stopped taking his calls after he tried to borrow money from her to pay his lawyer. Trevor tried one last time to reach out to Zara. Not through lawyers this time. Through social media. He created a fake account and sent her a message. I know you hate me. I don't blame you. But I'm drowning here. I lost everything. My job, my home, my family. Both families. I have nothing left. If you ever cared about me at all, please, I'm begging you. Can we talk? Zara stared at the message for a long time. A part of her, a small part, felt sorry for him. He had destroyed his own life. He was suffering the consequences of his choices. He had no one to blame but himself. But he had also destroyed her life. Or tried to. He had lied to her for years. Stolen from her. Made her question everything she thought was real. She blocked the account without responding. She didn't owe him anything. Not her sympathy. Not her forgiveness. Not her help. He had made his choices. Now he had to live with them. 1 year after finding out about Trevor's betrayal, Zara sat in her office and looked around at what she had built. The space had grown. She now rented the entire floor of the building. Her team had expanded to 5 people. 2 designers, 1 project manager, 1 social media manager, and Brianna, who had been promoted to creative director. Her client list included major corporations, successful startups, and nonprofits doing meaningful work. She turned down more projects than she accepted. Not because she couldn't handle them, but because she had learned to value her time and energy. She had also learned to value herself. The divorce had been finalized 3 months ago. The house had sold, and her 70% of the marital assets had been deposited into her accounts. It was more money than she had ever imagined having. She could have retired. Could have traveled the world. Could have done nothing for the rest of her life. Instead, she worked harder than ever. But this time she was building something for herself. Something that made her proud. She was also building a new life outside of work. She reconnected with old friends. She made new ones. She joined a book club. She took a pottery class on weekends. She traveled to places she had always wanted to see. She went to Paris and spent a week wandering through museums. She went to Tokyo and got lost in the narrow streets. She went to Jamaica and laid on beaches and read books and thought about nothing. She learned to be alone without being lonely. She also, slowly and carefully, started dating again. The first few dates were disasters. She was too guarded. Too suspicious. She kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. For the man across from her to reveal he was actually married or lying or hiding something terrible. But eventually she relaxed. She learned to trust her instincts again. To notice red flags instead of ignoring them. To walk away when something didn't feel right. She dated casually. Nothing serious. She wasn't ready for serious. One man, a lawyer named Chris, lasted 3 months. He was kind and funny and seemed genuine. But when he started talking about moving in together, Zara panicked and ended it. "I'm not ready," she told him honestly. "I don't know if I'll ever be ready for that again." "I understand," he said. "But I think you're letting your ex win if you let what he did stop you from being happy." "Maybe," Zara said. "But I am happy. I'm happy on my own. I don't need someone else to complete me." He didn't understand. Most people didn't. They thought she was damaged, that she needed to heal, and move on, and forgive. But Zara didn't feel damaged. She felt free. Free from lies. Free from false promises. Free from trying to build a future with someone who was building futures with multiple people. She was enough. Just her. That was revolutionary. Around this time, Zara got a speaking invitation. A women's business conference wanted her to talk about building a successful company after divorce. At first she said no. She didn't want to be known as the woman whose husband had a secret family. She wanted to be known for her work. But Nicole convinced her otherwise. "Your story is powerful," Nicole said. "Not just because of what he did, but because of what you did. You didn't fall apart. You built something amazing. Other women need to hear that. They need to know it's possible." So Zara agreed. She stood on a stage in front of 300 women and told her story. She talked about the discovery, the betrayal, the anger, the decision to fight instead of collapse. She talked about rebuilding, about starting her business, about learning to trust herself again. She talked about revenge. "People told me the best revenge is forgiveness," she said. "They told me I needed to let go of my anger and move on. But you know what? That's not true. The best revenge is living well. The best revenge is building something so successful that your betrayer can't ignore it. The best revenge is being so happy that you forget they exist." The room erupted in applause. After the speech, dozens of women came up to her. They shared their own stories, their own betrayals, their own struggles. "You inspired me," one woman said, crying. "My husband left me for his secretary last year. I thought my life was over. But hearing you speak, I realize it's just beginning." Zara hugged her. "It is just beginning. Trust me." The conference uploaded her speech to YouTube. It went viral. Within a week, it had been viewed over 1 million times. Her business email flooded with requests. More speaking engagements. More interviews. More clients. A magazine wanted to profile her. A publisher wanted her to write a book. A television producer wanted to option her story for a movie. It was overwhelming and exhilarating and terrifying all at once. She hired a manager to handle the requests. She said yes to some opportunities and no to others. She stayed focused on what mattered: her work, her business, her life. One evening, she was working late at her office when Brianna knocked on her door. "There's someone here to see you," Brianna said, looking uncomfortable. "I don't have any appointment scheduled." "I know." He said, "He's your ex-husband." Zara's blood went cold. "Tell him I'm not here." "I already did. He won't leave. He says he'll wait all night if he has to." Zara stood up. She was done hiding from Trevor. Done letting him have any power over her life. "Call security," she said. "If he's not gone in 5 minutes, have them remove him." "Are you sure? He looks pretty desperate." "I don't care how he looks. He doesn't get to show up at my business and demand my time." Brianna nodded and left. Zara sat back down and tried to focus on her work. But her hands were shaking. She hated that he could still affect her like this. Hated that just his presence in the building made her anxious. For minutes later, Brianna came back. He's gone. Security escorted him out. Did he say anything? Just that he needed to talk to you. That it was important. It's not. If he comes back, don't even tell me. Just have security handle it. That night, Zara went home to her new apartment. A beautiful loft with floor-to-ceiling windows and exposed brick walls. A space that was entirely hers. No memories of Trevor. No ghost of their failed marriage. She poured herself a glass of wine and stood at the window, looking out at the city lights. She had come so far in 1 year. From broken to powerful. From victim to victor. But she still had moments like this. Moments where Trevor's shadow tried to darken her life. Moments where she felt the old fear creeping back in. She wouldn't let it win. She raised her glass to her reflection in the window. To me, she said. For surviving. For thriving. For winning. She drank deeply and smiled. The future was hers now. And it was going to be spectacular. Trevor's life had become unrecognizable. Not that Zara was keeping tabs. She wasn't. But information had a way of finding her anyway. Through mutual friends who couldn't help but share. Through his mother, who still called Zara occasionally to apologize and update her. Through the simple fact that his downfall was so complete that people talked about it. He had lost his job. Lost his apartment when he couldn't make rent. Lost his car. Lost any semblance of the life he had once lived. He was crashing on his brother's couch. His brother's wife wasn't happy about it. Candace had taken him to court for child support. Between what he owed her and what he owed Zara, he was drowning in debt. He had declared bankruptcy, but it didn't erase everything. He was working 3 part-time jobs. Delivery driver. Retail stock person. Night shift at a warehouse. None of them paid well. All of them were exhausting. He had tried to reach out to old friends for help. Most had stopped responding to his calls. His mother had offered to help initially, but after he asked for money one too many times, she had set firm boundaries. She would give him emotional support but no financial help. He had made his bet, she said. Now he had to lie in it. Trevor was desperate. And desperate people do desperate things. He showed up at Zara's office 2 more times. Both times, security escorted him out before he could get past the lobby. He tried calling from different numbers. She blocked them all. He tried emailing her business account. Her assistant filtered them to spam. He tried reaching her through Nicole. Nicole told him to go to hell and blocked him too. Finally, he tried something that actually got her attention. He went to the media. A local news station ran a story, "Man claims ex-wife destroyed his life out of spite." In the interview, Trevor painted himself as the victim. He admitted to making mistakes. To stepping outside the marriage. To not being honest. But he claimed Zara's response was vindictive and extreme. He said she had taken everything from him, left him with nothing, refused to show any mercy. He cried on camera. Said he just wanted a chance to rebuild his life. Said he hoped Zara would find it in her heart to forgive him. The story got picked up by a few online outlets. Some people believed him. Most didn't. But it made Zara angry. Not the kind of angry that makes you irrational. The kind that makes you focused. She called Janet. "I saw the interview," Janet said before Zara could speak. "I'm already drafting a statement. We'll release it tomorrow with the court documents proving everything he did. The fraud. The deception. The financial abuse. He just opened himself up to public scrutiny and trust me, he's going to regret it." "Good," Zara said. The next day, Janet released a detailed statement along with redacted court documents. The documents showed everything. Trevor's lies. His secret family. The money he stole. The systematic deception. The media narrative flipped instantly. "Man who maintained secret family for 6 years claims ex-wife is vindictive," read one headline. "Bigamist cries victim after consequences of his actions," read another. Trevor's interview became a joke. Memes spread online. People mocked him. Called him out. Demanded the original news station retract the story. The station issued an apology. Said they should have investigated more thoroughly before giving Trevor a platform. Trevor disappeared from public view after that. No more interviews. No more attempts to contact Zara. But his desperation didn't end. It just changed form. He started posting on social media. Long rants about how unfair the divorce system was. How men were always painted as villains. How women got away with destroying men's lives. He joined online groups of divorced men who blamed their ex-wives for everything. He became an angry voice in an echo chamber of bitterness. His mother called Zara again. "I don't know what to do with him. He's so angry all the time. He won't take responsibility for anything. He just keeps blaming you." That's not my problem, Zara said gently but firmly. I know. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have called. I feel like I'm watching my son destroy himself, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. You can't save someone who won't save themselves. I know. Meanwhile, Zara's life continued to improve. Her business grew. She was profiled in 3 major magazines. Her TED Talk-style speech at the Women's Conference was nominated for an award. Publishers were still courting her for a book deal. She bought a house. Not the one she had shared with Trevor. A new one. A beautiful craftsman in a neighborhood she had always loved. She decorated it exactly how she wanted. Bright colors. Bold art. Furniture that made her happy. She adopted a dog. A rescue named Pepper who had been through her own trauma and needed someone patient and kind. They healed together. She started dating someone new. A man named Julian who was an architect. He was kind and straightforward and had no secret families. They took things slow. He understood why she needed time and space. He didn't push for more than she was ready to give. On their 3rd date he said, I read about what happened to you. I'm sorry you went through that. Thank you, she said. I want you to know I'm not that guy. I don't lie. I don't play games. What you see is what you get. How do I know that's true? You don't? Not yet. But I'll prove it to you over time. I'm patient. She liked his honesty. His self-awareness. The fact that he didn't pretend to have all the answers. They dated for 6 months before she let him meet her friends. Another 3 months before she introduced him to Trevor's mother, who had become like family to Zara despite everything. He seems good, Trevor's mother said after meeting Julian. You deserve someone good. I do, Zara agreed. Around this time, Trevor tried one final desperate move. He showed up at her house. The new house he shouldn't have known about. Zara was in the backyard with Pepper when the doorbell rang. She wasn't expecting anyone. Julian was working late. Nicole was out of town. She looked through the security camera app on her phone. Trevor stood on her front porch, looking haggard and thin. His clothes were worn. His face was unshaven. He looked like a man who had been broken by life. Part of her felt that familiar tug of sympathy. Then she remembered why he looked like this. Remembered every lie. Every betrayal. Every stolen dollar. She didn't open the door. Instead, she called the police and reported a trespasser who was violating the restraining order she had put in place months ago. They arrived within 10 minutes. They escorted Trevor away in handcuffs. Zara watched through the camera, feeling nothing but relief that he was gone. That night, she called Nicole. He showed up at my house. Oh my God. Are you okay? I'm fine. The police took him. But Nicole, when I saw him on my porch, you know what I felt. What? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not anger. Not sadness. Not even satisfaction. Just nothing. Like he was a stranger I used to know. That's good, right? It's everything. It means he has no power over me anymore. None at all. After hanging up, Zara sat on her couch with Pepper curled beside her and thought about the journey she had been on. From the morning she found that text message to this moment, she had transformed completely. She wasn't the same woman who had trusted blindly, who had given pieces of herself away to make someone else happy, who had dimmed her own light to make room for someone else's. She was someone new, someone stronger, someone who knew her own worth. And Trevor? He was just a chapter in her story, a painful one, an important one, but not the ending. The ending was still being written, and it was going to be beautiful. 18 months after the divorce, Zara stood in front of a room full of reporters and cameras. She was launching something new, something bigger than her design business. A mentorship program for women rebuilding their lives after divorce. The program offered free business consulting, legal resources, therapy services, and networking opportunities. It was funded by a grant she had secured and by donations from successful women who wanted to give back. I know what it feels like to have your entire life pulled out from under you, Zara said into the microphone. I know what it's like to question everything you thought was true. To wonder if you'll ever feel whole again. This program exists because I want other women to know they're not alone. And more importantly, that they can not only survive but thrive. The program launched with 20 participants. Within 6 months, the waiting list was over 200 women long. Zara hired staff to help manage it. Former therapists, lawyers, business consultants, all women who had been through their own divorces and wanted to help others. The program became her passion project. Her design business was still successful, still growing, but this felt more meaningful. This felt like turning her pain into purpose. She met with participants regularly, heard their stories, offered advice, connected them with resources, watched them grow stronger week by week. One woman, a mother of 3 named Amanda, told Zara, "You saved my life. I was ready to give up. Go back to my ex just because I didn't think I could make it on my own. But you showed me I could." "I didn't save you," Zara said. "You saved yourself. I just gave you some tools." The program got media attention, positive attention. Zara was invited on talk shows, asked to write articles, requested to speak at universities and conferences. She said yes to the opportunities that aligned with her values, no to the ones that felt exploitative or sensational. A publisher finally convinced her to write a book. Not a memoir about Trevor and his betrayal. A guide for women rebuilding after divorce. Practical advice mixed with personal stories from her and the women in her program. She spent 6 months writing it. Late nights after work. Weekends at coffee shops. Early mornings before the rest of the world woke up. When it was finished, she felt proud. It was honest and helpful and real. The book launched to strong sales. It hit bestseller lists. It reached women who needed it. Zara did a book tour. 20 cities in 30 days. She was exhausted but energized. Every event was packed with women who wanted to share their stories, who wanted to thank her, who wanted to know how to start over. "You're changing lives," Julian told her on the phone one night when she was in Seattle for an event. "I'm just sharing what I learned," she said. "That's how you change lives." Julian had become a steady presence in her life. They had been dating for over a year now. He had proven himself patient and trustworthy and genuine. He didn't push for more than she was ready for. He supported her work and her growth. He made her laugh. She loved him. Not the desperate, all-consuming love she thought she had for Trevor. Something quieter, steadier, more real. When she got back from the book tour, he took her to dinner at the restaurant where they had their first date. "I have something I want to talk to you about," he said. Zara felt a flash of panic. Here it comes, she thought. He wants to get married. He wants to move in. He wants something I'm not ready to give. But Julian knew her well. He saw the fear in her eyes. "It's nothing scary," he said quickly. "I just want you to know that I'm happy with things exactly as they are. I don't need more. I don't need labels or commitments or timelines. I just want to keep being part of your life in whatever way you're comfortable with." Zara felt tears in her eyes. "You mean that?" "Completely. You've been through hell. You've rebuilt yourself into someone amazing. I'm not going to pressure you to be anything other than exactly who you are right now." She reached across the table and took his hand. "Thank you." "For what?" "For understanding. For being patient. For not making me feel broken because I'm still figuring out how to trust people." "You're not broken. You're careful. There's a difference." That night, Zara realized something important. She could be happy without being healed. She could build a beautiful life while still carrying scars. She didn't have to be perfect or completely over her trauma to deserve good things. She was enough. Right now. As she was. Meanwhile, Trevor had violated his restraining order again. He was sentenced to 30 days in jail. When he got out, his brother refused to let him return to the couch. His mother maintained her boundaries. He had nowhere to go. He ended up in a homeless shelter. Working odd jobs. Barely surviving. Some people felt sorry for him. Zara didn't. She didn't feel anything for him anymore. Not hate. Not sympathy. Just indifference. He had destroyed himself. She had simply removed herself from the path of his destruction. Around this time, Candace reached out. Not by phone this time. By email. "I know we agreed not to contact each other," the email read. "But I wanted you to know that I'm okay now. I got a good job. My kids are doing well. I'm dating someone who treats me with respect. I'm building a new life. I wanted to thank you for sending me that email 2 years ago. As much as it hurt at the time, it set me free. I hope you're doing well too." Zara wrote back a short reply. "I'm glad you're okay. Thank you for letting me know. Take care of yourself." She didn't want to be friends with Candace. Didn't want to maintain any connection. But she was glad Candace had found her way forward too. They were both survivors of the same liar. They both deserved to be happy. 6 months later, Zara opened a second office for her design business in another city. She expanded her team to 15 people. She won industry awards. She was interviewed for documentaries about women in business. Her mentorship program expanded too. They now served women in 5 states. The success stories kept coming. Women who had gone from broken to business owners. From victims to victors. Zara's house was filled with thank you cards and letters from women whose lives had changed. She kept them all in a box in her office. On hard days, she read through them as a reminder of why her pain had been worth it. She was making a difference, creating ripples of change that extended far beyond her own story. One evening, she was working late at home when Julian came over with takeout. "You're always working," he said, kissing her cheek. "I love what I do." "I know. It's one of my favorite things about you. Your passion." They ate dinner on her couch, Pepper sprawled across both their laps. "Can I ask you something?" Julian said. "Always." "Do you ever think about him? Trevor?" Zara thought about it honestly. "Not really. Sometimes something will remind me of that time in my life. But him specifically? No. He's irrelevant to me now. That must feel good. It feels like freedom." They talked late into the night. About their dreams, their plans, their hopes for the future. Zara went to bed that night feeling content. Her life wasn't perfect. She still had moments of doubt and fear. Still sometimes woke up anxious for no reason. Still struggled with trust. But she was happy. Genuinely, deeply happy. She had built this life from nothing. From the ashes of betrayal and lies, she had created something beautiful and meaningful. And the best part? She had done it entirely on her own terms. 2 years and 3 months after finding out about Trevor's secret family, Zara was at her office preparing for a major presentation. Her company had been selected to redesign the brand identity for a Fortune 500 company. It was the biggest project she had ever landed. Her team was ready. The presentation was polished. Everything was perfect. Then Brianna knocked on her door with a worried expression. "He's here again," she said quietly. Zara didn't need to ask who. She felt it in her gut. "Did you call security?" "They're on their way. But he's making a scene in the lobby. He's demanding to see you. Saying he won't leave until you talk to him." Zara took a deep breath. She was done with this. Done with Trevor inserting himself into her life. Done with letting him disrupt her peace. "Tell security to wait," she said, standing up. "I'll talk to him. One last time. Then I never want to see him again." "Are you sure?" "Completely." Zara walked to the lobby. Trevor was there, looking even worse than last time. Thinner. Older. Defeated. When he saw her, his face crumpled. "Zara. Thank God. I've been trying to reach you." "Outside," she said firmly. "Not here." She led him to the street outside her building. Her building. Her business. Her success. Everything she had built without him. They stood on the sidewalk and Trevor stared at her like he was seeing a ghost. "You look amazing," he said. "I saw your book. I saw the interviews. You're doing so well." "What do you want, Trevor?" "I need help. I'm barely surviving. I lost everything. I can't pay my debts. I can't afford a place to live. I'm drowning." "And you came to me? You're the only person who might understand. Who might care enough to help." Zara almost laughed. "You think I care about you? We were married for 8 years. That has to mean something." "It meant something until I found out you were living a complete lie. Until I discovered you had another family. Another life. Until I realized everything we had was based on deception. I know I messed up." "Messed up?" "Trevor, you didn't mess up. You made deliberate choices every single day for 6 years. You looked me in the eye and lied. You stole from me. You betrayed me in every way possible. That's not a mess up. That's who you are." His face hardened. "So you're just going to watch me suffer? After everything we had together?" "We didn't have anything together. That's the point. There was no we. There was you lying to multiple people and us believing those lies. I apologized. I've tried to make things right." "No, you haven't. You've tried to avoid consequences. You've tried to make yourself the victim. You've never once taken real responsibility for what you did. I lost everything. You destroyed everything. There's a difference." Trevor's desperation turned to anger. "You did this to me. You took everything in the divorce. You turned everyone against me. You ruined my reputation. You made it impossible for me to rebuild my life. I held you accountable. That's all I did. The rest? That's all you. I came here to ask for help. Not for much. Just enough to get back on my feet. You have money now. You're successful. You could help me and not even notice the difference." Zara stared at him. "You really don't get it, do you?" "Get what?" "I don't owe you anything. Not my money. Not my sympathy. Not my help. Nothing. You spent years taking from me. My trust. My love. My money. My time. Years of my life that I can never get back. You took and took and took and you never gave anything real in return. Just lies. So no, Trevor. I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to give you one more second of my energy or one more dollar of my money. So that's it? You're just going to let me suffer? You're suffering because of your own choices, not because of me. I moved on. I rebuilt. I created something beautiful from the wreckage you left behind. What you do with your life now is your problem, not mine. You're cold, he spat. You're heartless. I used to love you and now I don't even recognize you. Good, Zara said calmly. Because the woman you loved was someone who didn't know her own worth. Someone who made herself smaller to make room for you. That woman is gone. I'm someone better now. Someone stronger. Someone who will never let anyone treat her the way you did ever again. I hope you're happy, Trevor said bitterly. I hope all this success and money makes you happy, because you're going to end up alone. Zara smiled. Actually smiled. I'm not alone. I have friends who value me. A partner who respects me. A business I'm proud of. A life I love. I have everything I need. What do you have, Trevor? He didn't answer. He couldn't. This is the last time we're going to speak, Zara said. I want you to know something. I don't hate you. I don't think about you enough to hate you. You're just someone I used to know who taught me what I don't want in my life. Thank you for that lesson. Now please leave and don't come back. She turned and walked back into her building without waiting for his response. Her hands were shaking. Her heart was racing. But she felt powerful. Like she had finally closed a door that had been stuck open for too long. Security met her in the lobby. Do you want us to remove him? Yes. And update the ban list. If he comes back, I want the police called immediately. No more warnings. No more chances. Understood. Zara went back to her office. Brianna was waiting. Are you okay? I'm perfect, Zara said. And she meant it. That evening she called Julian and told him what happened. How do you feel? He asked. Free. Finally free. I think I've been carrying this weight of wondering when he would pop up again, what he would want, how I would react. Now I know. I react by being strong. By remembering who I am now. By not letting him have any power over me. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of me too. That night, Zara slept better than she had in months. No dreams about Trevor. No anxiety about the past. Just deep, peaceful sleep. The next morning, she woke up ready to tackle her presentation. Her team delivered it flawlessly. The Fortune 500 company loved it. They signed a contract worth more than Zara made in 3 years at her old corporate job. Her team celebrated with champagne in the office. Brianna gave a toast to Zara, who built all this from scratch and showed us what real strength looks like. Everyone raised their glasses. Zara looked around at the faces of her team. Her chosen family. People who respected her and valued her and were part of the life she had built. She thought about where she had been 2 years ago. Broken. Devastated. Wondering how she would survive. And look at her now. Surviving wasn't even the goal anymore. She was thriving. She had won. Not by destroying Trevor. But by refusing to let his destruction touch her. That was the best revenge of all. 2 years and 7 months after discovering Trevor's betrayal, Zara stood in her new home and looked around with satisfaction. She had sold the house she bought after the divorce and upgraded to something even better. A stunning modern home with a view of the city. 3 bedrooms, an art studio, an office, a yard for Pepper. It was perfect. Julian helped her hang the last painting in the living room. They had officially moved in together 3 months ago. It had felt right. Natural. Not scary like she thought it would be. This place is incredible, he said, stepping back to admire their work. We're incredible, Zara corrected. Her phone rang. It was her editor. Your book just hit the New York Times bestseller list, the editor said. Number 3. Zara screamed. Julian looked confused until she told him, then he picked her up and spun her around. I'm so proud of you, he said when he put her down. We should celebrate. That night, they had dinner with Nicole and her new girlfriend Simone. They toasted to success, to friendship, to new beginnings. I can't believe how far you've come, Nicole said. I remember when you first found out about Trevor. You were so destroyed. And now look at you. You're thriving. I had help, Zara said. You were there for me when I needed it most. Always. The conversation turned to other topics. Nicole's promotion at work. Simone's art exhibition. Julian's latest architectural project. Normal life. Happy life. Life without drama or secrets or lies. Later that week, Zara got a call from Trevor's mother. I wanted you to know, she said carefully. Trevor moved out of state. Got a job in construction somewhere in Arizona. He said he needs a fresh start. Good for him, Zara said neutrally. He asked about you. I told him you were doing well. Happily moved on. I hope that was okay. It's fine. It's the truth. It is. I'm glad you found happiness, Zara. You deserve it after everything. So do you? How are you doing? They talked for a while about normal things. Trevor's mother had joined a book club, started taking art classes. She was building her own new life too, separate from the son who had disappointed her so deeply. Before hanging up, she said, I know I've said this before, but I'm sorry. For what he did. For not seeing it sooner. For all of it. You don't need to keep apologizing. It wasn't your fault. Thank you for being gracious about that. After the call, Zara thought about Trevor in Arizona. Starting over. Working construction. Living a smaller life than he once had. She didn't feel happy about his struggles. Didn't feel sad either. Just neutral. He was doing what he needed to do to survive. That was his journey now. Not hers. Her journey was so much bigger. Her business continued to grow. She opened a third office. Hired more staff. Took on bigger projects. Won more awards. Her mentorship program expanded nationwide. They had helped over 500 women rebuild their lives after divorce. The success stories kept coming. Women who had started businesses. Women who had gone back to school. Women who had found their power and used it to create better lives. Zara was invited to speak at the United Nations about women's economic empowerment. She stood before diplomats and leaders and shared her story. Not as a victim. As a victor. When we support women through their worst moments, she said, we don't just help individuals. We change families, communities, economies. My story is one of millions. But it shows what's possible when women are given resources and support to rebuild. The speech was covered by international media. Her program got grants from major foundations. The work expanded further. She was making a real difference. Living a life of purpose and meaning. One Saturday morning, 3 years after finding that fateful text message, Zara woke up in her beautiful home next to Julian. Pepper was sprawled across the foot of the bed. Sunlight streamed through the windows. She lay there for a moment, taking it all in. She thought about the woman she used to be. The one who trusted blindly. Who dimmed her light. Who made herself smaller to fit into someone else's life. That woman was gone. Replaced by someone who knew her worth. Who demanded respect. Who built her own empire. She had survived the worst betrayal of her life. Not just survived. Thrived. She had her own successful business. A book that was helping thousands of women. A program that was changing lives. A home she loved. A partner who respected her. Friends who valued her. A dog who adored her. She had everything she needed. Everything she wanted. And Trevor? He was just a footnote in her story. A painful chapter that led to better things. She got out of bed quietly, not wanting to wake Julian. She made coffee and went out to the back deck. The morning was cool and beautiful. She thought about revenge. About justice. About consequences. People used to tell her that the best revenge was forgiveness. That she needed to let go of her anger and move on. But they were wrong. The best revenge was this. This life. This happiness. This success. The best revenge was becoming someone so powerful and successful that her betrayer became irrelevant. The best revenge was living so well that she forgot to think about him at all. She hadn't forgiven Trevor. She probably never would. But she didn't need to. Forgiveness was for people who were still carrying the weight of their trauma. She had put that weight down. She had walked away from it. She was free. Julian came out with his own coffee and sat beside her. What are you thinking about? He asked. How happy I am. Yeah. I spent so long thinking my life was destroyed. That I would never recover from what happened. But I was wrong. My life wasn't destroyed. It was just redirected. Everything that happened led me here. To this moment. To this life. And I wouldn't change it. Not even the pain? Not even the pain. Because the pain taught me who I really am. It taught me that I'm stronger than I ever knew. That I can build something beautiful from nothing. That I don't need anyone to complete me because I'm already whole. Julian smiled and kissed her temple. That's the sexiest thing you've ever said. She laughed. They sat there together watching the city wake up, and Zara felt complete. Her story wasn't a tragedy. It was a triumph. She had been betrayed, broken, and beaten down. And she had risen from those ashes like fire. She was unstoppable now. Unbreakable. Free. 3 years ago, she had found out about Trevor's secret family and wondered how she would survive. Now she didn't just survive. She conquered. And that was the ending she deserved. 3 years after discovery. Zara stood on stage at another conference, but this time it was different. She was the keynote speaker at the largest women's entrepreneurship conference in the world. 10,000 women in the audience. She talked about her journey. Not dwelling on the pain but celebrating the transformation. 3 years ago my world fell apart, she said. But in the rubble I found something precious. I found myself. The real me. Not the version I created to please someone else. But the woman I was always meant to be. Strong. Capable. Unstoppable. The audience erupted in applause. I'm not here to tell you that betrayal is a gift. It's not. It's painful and devastating and horrible. But I am here to tell you that what comes after can be beautiful. If you let it. If you choose to build instead of crumble. If you decide that your story doesn't end with someone else's betrayal. It begins there. Standing ovation. After the speech, hundreds of women lined up to talk to her. To thank her. To share their stories. One young woman, probably in her 20s, waited until the end. My husband just left me, she said, crying. He said he's in love with someone else. I feel like my life is over. How did you do it? How did you become this? Zara took her hands. One day at a time. One decision at a time. Decide to survive. Then decide to thrive. It won't be easy. But I promise you it will be worth it. I don't know if I'm strong enough. You are. Trust me. You're stronger than you know. The pain will try to convince you otherwise. Don't believe it. You're going to make it through this. And one day you'll be standing where I am, telling someone else that they can do it too. The woman hugged her, crying harder now. Zara held her and remembered being in that exact place. That exact pain. And look at her now. That night she went home to Julian and Pepper. They ordered pizza and watched a movie. Normal. Simple. Perfect. Before bed, Zara looked at herself in the mirror. Really looked. She saw strength in her eyes. Confidence in her posture. Peace in her expression. She saw a woman who had been through hell and came out victorious. She saw someone she was proud to be. I did it, she whispered to her reflection. I actually did it. And she had. She had taken the worst thing that ever happened to her and turned it into the catalyst for the best life she could imagine. Trevor had tried to break her. Instead he had freed her. That was his gift, whether he meant it to be or not. The life she had built was hers. Every success. Every achievement. Every moment of happiness. All hers. She climbed into bed next to Julian, who was already half asleep. Love you, he mumbled. Love you too. She turned off the light and closed her eyes, smiling. Tomorrow she would wake up and continue building her empire. She would help more women. She would create more success. She would live more life. But tonight she would rest. Rest in the knowledge that she had won. Not by destroying Trevor. Not by revenge in the traditional sense. But by becoming so successful, so happy, so complete that his betrayal became the best thing that ever happened to her. That was the ultimate victory. And it was sweet.